Joining us now, South Carolina's Attorney General, Alan Wilson. Attorney General, great to have you with us. I want to just start with one fact that I find just compelling. In Georgia, where a strict voter ID law, as you know, went into effect in 2007, turnout among African Americans rose by 42% from the 2006 midterm elections to the 2010 midterms, according to the Georgia Secretary of State's office. What in the world is going on here?
Well, you see a bunch of standards being applied here, Lou. First off, you're right to point out Georgia's law, which is nearly identical to South Carolina's voter ID law, which was passed and cleared by the Department of Justice several years ago. What you also see is the Department of Justice, under the leadership of Eric Holder, depriving the citizens of the very protections of a law that was passed and upheld by the United States Supreme Court for the citizens of Indiana. So it's been upheld by the Supreme Court, and it's already been pre-cleared by the Department of Justice for the citizens of Georgia. And you point out another thing, African-American voter registration up. I have yet to hear of one suppressed complaint of someone not being allowed to vote due to this law being used in Georgia. South Carolina just wants to, if we want to suppress anyone's vote, we want to suppress deceased individuals who've already passed away and continue to vote. That's the votes we're trying to suppress.
Now they've got quite a lobby, I understand. I won't say where that support comes from, but I mean, it's outrageous. It opens up our polls to fraud, and we know that there is sufficient pressure on this honor system that we call an electoral system anyway. Who would not want there to be absolute integrity in this process, and who rationally could say that it is that it is somehow subversive or restrictive to insist that one present identification that's required, for crying out loud, to send a telegram, to walk into a government office?
Well,
or drive a
Lou,
car.
I apologize. I just lost, I don't know if you can hear me. I just lost the feed.
Oh, I'm sorry, because if you can hear me now, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You were coming and going.
Right. I tend to do that. I apologize for going. Let me try this one more time. How can anyone rationally, at this point, prevail in court without empirical evidence that it is somehow restrictive or subversive in some way of rights to insist on such a low level of identification? That is, a government-issued ID that it would be required to enter the Attorney General's, any one of the buildings that's under his administration as Attorney General of the United States.
Well, Lou, I only heard the last part of what you just stated, so I'm going to go on that, and if this answer isn't directly on what you just asked, I apologize. Wow. But the analogy that I've often used, and I think you were talking about IDs being used in Mr. Holder's building, but I often use the people who go to buy prescription medication in your local pharmacy. You can't buy prescription medication without a photo ID. You can't get into our local federal building to the Social Security Administration here in Columbia without a photo ID. You know, a photo identification is a basic protection to protect something as sacred as the electoral process. People always talk about you have a constitutional guaranteed right to vote. But you don't have a guaranteed right to vote without being registered, without being documented to ensure that you are who you say you are. All we're wanting to do is take the registration process we have here and apply a photo identification to it.
Alan Wilson, I don't know if you can hear me, but Attorney General, we appreciate you being here. I apologize to you for the technical problems. We'll do better next time, and I hope that next time is soon. We appreciate it.